The largest religious commemoration, with some are saying over 20 million, I don't know.
A ritual journey that typically takes 5 days to complete upon arrival in Iraq's holy city of Karbala. Arba'in commemorates the end of the 40-day mourning period for the Prophet Muhammad's grandson, Imam Hussein. One analyst says its popularity is the result of its message.
Standing against tyranny and oppression, and that's a message that all human beings adhere to.
While it is a Shia spiritual exercise, not unusual to see Sunnis, Christian, Yazidis, and Zoroastrians also partake in this pilgrimage.
What's your advice, or what would you tell them that, about what would you do? Would you encourage them to go?
Well, I would just quite simply a two-letter word: go. That's all. I mean, obviously they might find it difficult with a visa for Iraq, if they really did want to go, then if they're determined, just like I was, I found a way. It's how I found you people, or even vice versa, it's irrelevant. But if you want to go, you'll find a way of getting your visa, You'll make friends, or you'll go to an Islamic centre or whatever, and you'll find a way of getting a visa. So you'll go, yeah, I'd recommend it. You wouldn't even need any money in your pocket, except to give to charity, You will be fed, clothed, bedded. You have nothing to worry about. Martin Mudlin. I live in Bromley in Kent now. I'm known as Martin the Veg from the days when I had an allotment, and I used to go into the pub with a veg on the way back, so that name stuck. I'm now just coming up to 67, obviously retired, disabled now, and I've been coming here now for something like 51, 52 years. We do originally come from West London. My grandparents actually got married in Fulham Palace Road there, and as a youngster I lived in Fulham. Can't remember the names of the roads now, but all my uncles and aunties either lived in Hammersmith or Chiswick. I didn't have a very happy childhood, and as much as my dad used to beat us quite a bit, in temper. I'm not saying we didn't deserve it, of course, me and my twin brother, because we were naughty. And I used to climb out the bedroom window when I was quite young and go off travelling, hitchhiking up the country. And my dad would get a phone call from a police station, come and pick me up somewhere like maybe Nottingham or somewhere. By the time I got to 15, you could buy a day ticket then to go over the channel. You'd take your photos in a booth and you could go over for the day. And I hitchhiked all around Europe, and on that day thing I was about 15. I used to play the mouth organ under the Eiffel Tower for a few shillings, or francs then, of course. So I've always had it in my blood. I don't know where it came from, because none of my family were that way inclined, but that's the way it's been. And it's been easier to do travelling, really, especially with the two marriages, as I've got older. I've been able to, I retired early through illness, so I was able to save and squint about and go on quite a few trips, I've enjoyed everywhere, really. I loved Kashmir. It was a nice place. I was right up near the Chinese border there, and more or less like a sort of a lake district, foot of the Himalayas, so I enjoyed that. Iran I enjoyed a few years back, very enjoyable. History, I travelled in Palestine, which was, well, I wouldn't say it was one of the nicest places, but interesting, of course. Well, Iran was basically, I went on my 60th birthday, or that was the trip for my 60th. It was basically because I've been reading Middle East politics for about 30 years, Iran always comes into that. So I thought, well, it's about time I went there. That was it, really. I knew Persia was obviously plenty of history. I hadn't changed my reading by then. But that was the reason, was mainly because it comes up in the political things, but like it does today. Well, I'm interested in the Arbeen, the walk for Imam Hussein. Very interested in that, so I think it would be a good experience. It's a big thing in the Shia world, part of their makeup, and it'd be good to be part of that. I will find it very interesting. Well, my 2 years since we found out I had cancer was actually only last week. What happened was I had a mild headache at the front of my head here for probably about 3 weeks, which is the time they tell you to give it before you go to the doctor. I put it down to the central heating, but as luck had it, one particular morning I went to get out of bed, and I was weak, and I fell, and I knocked my right ear against the cupboard, like the small cabinet, bedside cabinet, and it cut my ear. And although it was only a nick, because obviously I've been taking aspirin for years, because I had a mini stroke some years back and had a stent put in my neck, so obviously I bleed quite profusely, like with even a nick with shaving. So decided to go to the hospital. My daughter came with us as well, my wife went, and we got there at lunchtime, early lunchtime. They couldn't find anything wrong with me until the doctor came in, a young fella, Dale, lovely man, came in, told us they'd found something. And my daughter sort of said, is it cancer? And he sort of nodded. So they sort of broke down in tears, but I suppose I just took it in my stride, really. Maybe it didn't sink in. That was about 8:30, as I say. Turned out I had a, what do you call it in the head? Tumour. Just down there. It was on my cerebellum, which is your balance, part of your brain that affects your balance. So anyway, I had my first meetings at Guy's Cancer Centre, and it turned out that I was right. It was a guinea pig treatment. And obviously when you're told you've got cancer, you'll take anything, really, as far as I'm concerned. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. And anyway, as luck had it, they took the lump out in Lewisham Hospital. That all went well. In fact, I was home the next day, albeit wobbly. Got myself a mobile scooter, so I could still take the dog out every morning. That was handy. And after that, some months later, the cancer centre applied to the government to put me on this special machine, and I went to the private hospital, the Bupa Hospital, to have a special, like a helmet screwed onto my skull, and it zapped all the rest of the cancer away, but left the rest of the head alone, which is what most national health people have, and it's pretty painful and this, that and the other. So I was very lucky that I was given that, because it was part of the guinea pig stuff, and they said yes, of course that was like a hotel, 5-star hotel being in there, and that more or less hoovers up the stuff on your brain that's left, the cancer that's left, because obviously you can't touch it. So that was a result. And every 3 weeks I go into Guy's. I'm going in this afternoon to have my treatment. I'll have a cannula put in. They put the juice through, and what they're doing is they're playing with my immune system and trying to trick the cancer. So I have quite a hard time, not the same as people that have chemo and all that, but I still have difficulties. My legs are weak, I won't go too much into the details of that, so I made it here today. I make it to the ground for most games. I'm actually knackered when I do get here, but anyway, cut a long story short, my cancers, I've got lung cancer, liver cancer, I got cancer in my pancreas and in my spine, and all 4 cancers have been arrested. So I am a success case, you know. But it has its price, of course, but I'm not complaining, of course. And the other question you asked me was how that affects my travelling. It obviously makes it very difficult. I move very slowly. I don't get my money's worth when I go, unfortunately, but it doesn't stop me going because it's what I want to do. So it does seem a shame that I spend money doing these things, but I have to do them, and I do them, and I'll do as much as I can. If it means one day I can't do much, then so be it. It's the way it's willed.
Last question. What are you most looking forward to being to Iraq?
Being on the walk, seeing the shrines, which look absolutely fabulous. The shrine, obviously, of Imam Ali, as well as Imam Hussein, his son, Imam Abbas. Meeting the people on the walk. Sunshine, and just generally being part of it.
How was your trip?
Bit of a drag, that's pretty normal. Air travel.
You tired?
I've had worse.
Alright, what are you looking forward to? First night?
Apart from 3 Point Saturday, I would have to say Imam Ali's shrine, the 2 shrines, and Imam Hussein's shrine, and the walk, but not for the walking, more to see the people, look at their emotions and faces, etc. Yeah.
How does it feel to be in the city which used to be the capital when Imam Ali Islam was in power?
A bit different now, of course. It'd be nice to have seen it how it was, but yeah, I'm sure it'd be better when I'm on the road, you know, on the way from the airport. But yeah, it feels good to be here. It's a destination and I'm here. So yeah. We're now on our way to Imam Ali's shrine. You can see it in front of me in the Golden Dome. Very, very busy. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. A bit dusty, getting very warm, and looking forward to going inside. I did sort of expect a lot of crowds, you know. It's just going to get busier and busier. I did like it last night, seeing it all lit up. It was a bit special. The canopy, obviously, and the security there spoils it a bit, so we'll probably get a better look inside. Personally, I will feel quite a bit of a connection with all the reading that I've done, and now I've gone on to Islam and the caliphates, etc. So I will feel a connection with knowing the life story of this man. Will put lots of mental pictures inside my head. So it'd be like watching a film and it'll come together. So that's another connection that I personally think we make. It'll be like a jigsaw and the pieces coming together. Knowing how he met his death and how he lived his life. This is like the finish of it, I guess.
Has your relationship with Imam Ali, has that improved, strengthened? Do you kind of feel that you're closer to this character than
Yes, I feel like I know him now. I mean, especially reading his Peak of Elegance is a fantastic book for anybody, any religion, any person. Any right-minded, decent person would enjoy it. And it can put you in good stead for being a decent person. And by reading that and having visited the shrine, I do feel I know him a lot better, you know. Fantastic character, and I feel, makes me feel very strongly that he really should have been the first caliph as well, you know. I'm still not sure why he wasn't. And obviously I know about what happened, but it shouldn't have been allowed to happen. But unfortunately, what I've read and what I conclude is he was very unlucky that everything went against him. So many different circumstances, even if you look at like the Kharijites, how he had to go and that caused problems, which eventually led to his death. I just think he was very unlucky. Everything conspired against him.
So, in terms of Imam Ali alayhi salam, what parts of his character and his personality really stood out for you?
Oh, well, without a doubt, you can compare Imam Ali with Jesus, really. They were both perfect men, who obviously sent from above for a reason, to get religion started and to get people to be decent people and to live properly. This man buried here is in the same mould. They're like two peas in a pod, and he's a special man. Otherwise, why would you have all these people here like today? I'm excited to go inside the shrine. Obviously, it's a sad time for these people, so there's not a great deal of joy here because of the sadness involved. So until maybe I get inside and feel some spirituality, maybe when I'm inside the shrine, the question will probably be answered more inside rather than outside.
Last thing, what are you looking for from this experience? From here in Najaf with Imam Ali, what are you looking for?
I'm just hoping more than anything to connect all the pieces in all the books that I've been reading these last, 2 years, which has led me through the early days of the Caliphate, the start, death of Muhammad and the Ali and the situation at that time, and also the beginnings of the religion, etc. Like a jigsaw, we'll put all the pieces together, I think, and I think that would be the main thing, complete picture. I found that fantastic, the shrine, inside the shrine itself. I felt honoured to be able to touch the tomb. It was quite an experience, that I could show my respects by touching it. Could see how much it meant to the local people, the Iraqis. You could tell how much it meant to them to just touch it and say a prayer. The lady who was sobbing, audibly at the entrance there was very moving. Showed you how much love for the man who was there, and the sadness for how he met his end. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever forget that, seeing that lady like that.
A lot of people go to see Imam Ali with wishes and prayers. Did you say a little prayer for yourself?
I took a small one, like really, just that I can just carry on living, like with my cancer.
That's it.
Yeah, I asked for as much time as I've been given. I have been lucky. I've been given 2 years now. I just hope that I can keep going. This has helped me to reach that goal, to keep going.
And if Imam Ali was alive today, what would you say to him? What would you ask him?
Oh, that's a difficult question, really. I think I would just have to have a nice long conversation with him, really. It would probably be about the political situation at the time, which was obviously why I read it. It's a very fascinating subject, so I might even be able to advise him, say perhaps you should do certain things a different way, or maybe, and I'm sure we could sit down and have a good chat. Touching the shrines was important to me, and that was hard work. I'll never forget that one fella there who was quite stocky, quite a tall bloke, and he spent a lot of time there. No one could get near the shrine, I didn't like the idea of everyone shoving and pushing and elbowing. I didn't think that was right, There should be some kind of a system, you know, where people can do their touching and rub their silk scarves or whatever, you know, for a souvenir, you know, because I just managed to touch it with my fingers, and that was it was important for me out of respect, you know, and I did manage it, so I was pleased about that. That's a big memory of mine. I'm disappointed that I couldn't take any pictures inside the shrine, but I can understand obviously why not. You know, I took pictures inside the shrine in Iran, but my God, I was careful, no one saw me. So once we came away from there, I could enjoy the surroundings, and the glass was phenomenal, you know, better than anything I saw in Persia or Iran. I must say it's one of the nicest shrines I've ever been to, and very fitting for the man who's buried there. Very fitting indeed. Well, yes, the walk itself was very vivid, because you have to remember I didn't walk very much, did I, because of my legs. I did what I could, and I was lucky that I was in the position that you people, you know, had me a car to move further up the walk. But yeah, the walk was fantastic. There's lots of people did come up to me to talk. Lots didn't, obviously, but a lot did. Lots of them wanted to have pictures taken of me. I particularly enjoyed when the Iranian TV turned up and were desperate to interview me. That was interesting, especially as I've been to Iran, you know, recently. I found that interesting, and I enjoyed watching the people with their flags and the kids, you know, and they were all walking 80 kilometres, 50 miles, you know, and fair play to them, like, you know. I was very respectful of what they were doing, you know.
How are you feeling physically wise? I mean, it's really hot. We're walking for 700 metres now.
Well, I'm glad the sun's not out as such, but it's going to be out soon. It's not too bad for walking in, really. You know, I've been in proper heat and it's quite tolerable for me. My thighs are starting to play up, really, unfortunately. Legs are doing okay because of the painkillers. So yeah, I just need to keep going. I've got the ribbon there. Everything's good so far.
So one question I think is on everyone's mind is, why are you doing this walk? Why have you decided to take this quest to walk from Najaf to Karbala?
Yeah, I think it's to show my respect for the Shia religion, for the Imam Hussein, you know, what he went through, just for humanity, really. So yeah, I'm doing it for him, the same as what lots of other people are, as well as, of course, experiencing it for myself, and not just looking at the TV screen. I'm here.
Is it as you expected it to be?
I think so, yes, I think so. Yeah, you know, to be fair, you know, it's the world's shrunk now. You can go on see videos, and although I've only had a quick glance, I didn't want to spoil it for myself by watching loads of videos. I just glanced at one or two, so yeah, it's exactly how I expected. Well, it's not the same as being here. I'm here, you know. I came to live football matches, as I said before, you know, you're there, it's live. You're not watching it on the screen.
So the actual being present, taking the, you know, feeling the experience.
Yes, I want to do as much as I can for myself, for my, you know, my God's the same as your God, so I'm showing my faith in what I believe in by doing this as well. No, I'm not in a race. I feel just by being here, I'm part of the walk, and I'm showing my respect for the Shia and for the Imam. I'm showing my respect for that. I believe by being here, you know, and it's showing me what I read about. You know, back in the day, in the early days, people used to come here, and that's what they're doing now. It's just that it's got bigger, and I'm there doing it. Something that happened thousands of years ago. It's history. It's great. Spend the last 40 years travelling the Middle East, so it's nothing new to me. The only thing that's new to me is the Iraqi people, and obviously this Arveen walk is showing me the Iraqi people. Yeah, I mean, I know about Arab culture, and I've been to many Arab countries and spent many times in different places. So the culture's not a shock or anything. It's mainly just the hospitality is top of the tree, like, you know, for Iraqis.
What kind of things have you received already from people?
Oh, we've been offered sweets, obviously plenty of water, lunches, chicken and rice. I mean, if you were to go into every place that they asked you to go in to eat, you wouldn't be able to move, would you? Your stomach would be bulging and you'd be carrying it in front of you with a wheelbarrow. It's phenomenal, like, you know, the hospitality with all the armchairs, you know, places to rest, to go to sleep. Fantastic, yeah, fantastic hospitality. Okay, so we just had 2 hours of very slow walking because it's been very difficult for me. My thighs are starting to play up now. I'm getting spasms in there and legs ache, even though I'm full of tramadol. So it's time to stop now and have a rest, stretch my legs out and just chill, you know. Drink another cup of lovely shade. Yeah.
And how have you found it up to now?
Okay, good. Yeah, it's been good.
How much do you reckon you'll be able to do?
I think with another rest, probably about the same again. Probably. It's hard to say, really. I just haven't got that routine. I'm going to do as much as I can. Obviously, it's the idea for me. We just have to get off the cuff, I'm afraid, to see how I get on.
Well, I think the walkies have been fantastic. You know, I've managed to lay down to stretch my legs, which has obviously been playing up. I sat down and some bread and some meat was given to me. And then some more meat came out, was given to me. I've had young boys who obviously are interested, and like in myself, one to get me, cups of tea or chai, which has been nice because I love the stuff. And I've been able to lay down and relax. Can't sleep because of the flies, unfortunately. You know, it's part of the course. They stop you sleeping. But the hospitality is fantastic. I'm looking at a queue now because there's food come out and there's been a massive queue for the last 10 minutes and the queue's been moving. So, you know, that is, for the people, is fantastic. You know, I've seen people with bread, you know, you could fill a 50-ton lorry like with bread. The amount of bread I've seen people have, it's been freshly baked for the people. Never ending tea, you know. I just went to the toilet earlier. The toilets are clean, really, you know. I mean, obviously not spotless, but they haven't been left in a mess. So, you know, if one's been blocked up, it looks like someone's quickly cleaned it. You know, it was very quick clean. It surprised me. I thought it might be like the last place we went to at the airport. It wasn't too clever. So yeah, you know, it's a great place to relax. I'm sure there's people in this country who earn a lot of money, and I'm sure a lot of these people don't. You know, and think that they've probably, you know, spent their own money, or maybe, you know, their own property, maybe their own, one of their own sheep has been, you know, slaughtered for the food. They've given up their time to make sure that everybody is fed and watered and can go to the toilet and cleanliness. It's a fantastic thing to see, you know. Provided you don't mind roughing it a bit, I'd recommend it to anybody, you know. Obviously, if you're looking for 5-star hotel comforts, you're not going to get it. But, you know, if you're a travelling person and you're interested in religions and the Shia in particular, then, yeah, you should come. You'll be looked after.
To be among it and see exactly how strong that is. I mean, obviously I learned many years ago about Arab hospitality, especially the Bedouin, having been among them. But yeah, it's outstanding, you know, there. I mean, the one, I can remember it all more or less, but the one that sticks out for me was not long after we'd started out from Najaf, and we'd stopped, it might have been our first stop, to rest, have something to eat, drink, go to the toilet, etc. And we hadn't walked maybe another 10-15 yards when we met that character fella who tried to get us into his mawkib, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. You know, we'd just eaten, we were full up, we had to get going in it again. But that fella was a character. I can just picture him being here now, you know, trying to almost force us into his, you know, to eat and drink and rest when unfortunately we just finished. So that really sums it up, really. That's like that all the way, isn't it?
And how is it? How do you feel now that you've taken a bit of a nap? You said that you were quite tired. You came in.
I am very tired, you know. But that's not because of the weather or the walk. That is because of my situation. Unfortunately, I've got a bag that I could have done without the weight that's in there. You know, that hasn't helped the situation on the shoulders. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to walk anywhere near as much as I'd love to. Well, I mean, I'd love to, as I said previously, do the whole thing, but that's impossible. It's just a case of seeing what I'm like tomorrow now. You know, you have to remember that my oncologist told me that I shouldn't walk really at all, so any walking I do is probably a bonus. Which I'm sorry about, but it's the way it is.
I just felt 40 years younger in a mad taxi ride with about 200 other people. That was enjoyable, I must admit. My mind started wandering back to as many years ago. So yeah, we've got a taxi a short way to help me along. We're about halfway now to the holy city of Kampala. Looking for somewhere to spend the night now so I can rest up. We can eat, relax, see how my legs are tomorrow. It's just starting to get dark now, so the camera can probably just picking up on. So the journey continues. I think as we get closer, it'll probably be a lot tougher with the crowds. Yeah, it gets more exciting the more you sort of get closer, I guess.
How do you reckon you'll be tomorrow morning if you get a good night's sleep? What are you hoping for?
I think it's all down to the big fella upstairs. If you can get a good rest, you know. I don't need a lot of sleep, luckily for me. It's all about the very problems, like obviously my thighs now. I'll sort that out when I get back home. Legs feel a bit better now that I've rested. So I'll definitely be able to do a bit more walking, yeah.
So Martin, one of our members of the community, he's got a mawkib of himself. He's got a mawkib of his own, and he's invited us to stay there tonight. So inshallah, I want to go, and I'm going to introduce you to Abu Rasul.
What's his name?
His name is Abu Rasul.
What's that in short?
The father of Rasul, the father of the messenger.
How do I call his name in short?
You can call him
Rasul.
Rasul, yeah, it's called Rasul.
Rasul.
Rasul. Oh, I know that name, Rasul. Yeah, okay, Rasul.
And this is So hopefully tonight we'll be staying at his home. We'll give him the chance to serve us. So last night we met up with Abu Rasul, and what he was his mawkib was still in preparation. He managed to, introduce us to someone who's willing to take us into his house. The question I want to ask you is that how do you think difficult, how easy is it to take care and to host people, especially on a walk like this?
Well, it's a great effort from Rasu. If you look around at the room, obviously we had one or two other men and some interesting conversations last night. I believe there's another big room somewhere full of people as well. So, what a great effort. Can you say it's everything that the walk represents, really, isn't it?
And how was your experience with this last night? As in, were you taken care of? Did they provide the best service they could? Were they very, very eager to keep you happy?
Well, it was no different to staying in a hotel. If you really, probably, well, it's better than staying in a hotel. We had the typical, our big silver platter came out with some food, lovely food. We sat down to eat. Lovely food. These magnificent blankets came out and some mattresses. And yeah, we was all able to go to sleep and have some rest.
We were at Abu Sul's Mokib right now, which is poll number 564. The Mokib's not prepared properly and they're still getting everything ready. Abu Hussein was nice enough to invite us to his home, and we stayed at his house, and it was very, very hospitable. He's brought us in because he's part of the Mokib as well, showing the preparations that they're going through. There's a lot that are coming to visit and do the walk. We've got chickens over there, they're going to prepare it tomorrow. We've got chickens over there, loads of pots and pans and plates, plastic plates, disposable plates. We see over there, there's loads of gas canisters for the cooking. And inshallah they'll be ready tomorrow to start serving the pilgrims.
What do you think of the setup, Martin?
Well, you know, they're putting their own time and money into it. It's a fantastic effort, unbelievable, really. You know, these people are working in the heat, all to serve the people. Fantastic.
عندك كل سنة تجي إن شاء الله كل سنة يجي.
He's saying every year come.
Okay. إن شاء الله.
Awesome, one question, right? You know, أبو حسين شو رايك بأنه الضيف وجه من لندن
أهلا وسهلا به
وده يمشي
احنا نتشرف به إن شاء الله وبركة يحصلنا بعد 5 6 10 والربع يجون يستسلمون إن شاء الله يوم الإمام الحسين وهو جاي مشي من الإمام علي اللي هنا وبايت يمنا ضيف عزيز علينا وإن شاء الله باكر بالإمام الحسين يستسلم وإن شاء الله يصلي يم الإمام الحسين وهاي من بركات الإمام الحسين
إن شاء الله
وأهلا وسهلا بكم كل وقت تجون
إن شاء الله.
My thighs are starting to lay up now. It's a new thing for me. I only started a couple of weeks back. I haven't had a chance to speak to anybody about it yet. But yeah, I want to keep going, obviously. I'm getting weaker, as you can see, slowing down a bit. Not that I was going much faster in the first place.
You getting more optimistic now that you're officially in the city of Karbala?
Well, boundaries can be such a long way away. It doesn't really mean a lot. It often means that you've got a long way to go.
How do you empathise with maybe the women of the camp of Imam Hussein who had to walk this exact walk that you're walking now?
I'm sure they probably felt a lot like I do now, but mentally they'd have had even more things to deal with, wouldn't they? Emotionally and mentally, seeing all their loved ones massacred. So I just don't know how they've done it, to be honest with you. I know generations before are usually a lot tougher than the ones that come after. But I don't know how they got through that, I really don't. So, I mean, we're walking on tarmac, it's going to be a lot easier as well. I'm sure they was walking on all sorts of sand and scrub and stuff. Oh yeah, you can only admire it, can't you? You can understand why the people are walking.
Are you surprised by the sheer number of people, considering it's still early days?
Well, I was never going to be surprised by the number, but the numbers that I'm seeing now, considering it's about 10 days to go till the actual day, I'll be in the 40th day, which is the end of October, the last day. It's phenomenal, you know, it's like this for miles and miles and miles, you know, well, from the beginning, you know, if not before. We've met people from here, there and everywhere. We've just spoken to Iranian fellow who's come from Iran. Yeah, it's It's quite a sight.
How you feeling?
Knackered.
Yeah. How's it been the last few hundred poles?
Tough. I've been on autopilot. Basically. I'm knackered.
He's done really well. He's done about 150 poles. He's been walking now. He's not well. He's elderly, and you can't really see, but he's really, really fragile. His legs are really, really slim. It's very difficult for him to walk. Even before he left London, his doctors advised him to walk a certain amount of distances a day. So he's got like a daily rate. He's well exceeded that, and he's really, really pushed himself. Alhamdulillah. I hope Allah and I hope the Ahlul Bayt accept his efforts and acknowledge his hard work in this journey of his towards Karbala. But I just hope tomorrow that he can tonight he can rest well, rejuvenate, and tomorrow's another day, and hopefully we can tackle some more poles, inshallah.
What poles are you at now?
We're at 1050 at the moment. 1050. We're hoping to get to somewhere more like over 1100, 1150, around that mark. But yeah, 1050 is tapping out. So hopefully we'll call it a day today, and tomorrow, inshallah, we'll continue our way towards Karbala, inshallah.
The tiredness and the fatigue in my legs, which is what still affects me now, this is the one thing I've got. And although that could be down to my treatment, it could also be I did a lot of heavy work over the years and my legs were aching before I was even told that I had cancer. So maybe the cancer had been growing slowly and sapping and taking energy from my legs, but my legs can be really bad now. Sometimes I can hardly walk. I have a walking stick now, and sometimes I need it and sometimes I don't, but even when I don't, I walk very slowly. I have to stop, I'd love to have done the whole walk. I did a 50-mile walk when I was 14, the old Kent Messenger walk, Margate to Maidstone, to the barracks, and I won prizes for that, because I was going to give up at Canterbury, and then I was going to give up at Ashford, and I just kept going and fell asleep for about 5 hours just outside Maidstone, and I got woken up by my dad and my twin brother, and I finished the course, So yeah, I've always been a walker, but I can't even walk all the fields and that around here and that anymore, I just can't do it. So yeah, I had that to deal with. That was really the only two things, really.
You'll probably rest up for the rest of the day. Do you reckon you got much in you for tomorrow?
Got what for tomorrow?
Have you got any strength in you for tomorrow, you reckon?
Oh, I'll find it. I might better find it later tonight. Never say never.
Do you know how many poles you've done?
No. I can't count them.
It's been a good effort there.
Good. That's what it's all about. I wish I could do more. I really do.
How you feeling in terms of your health?
I feel good body-wise, apart from the legs. Yeah.
It's a bit tight. That's all really.
Only in the legs. Yeah, not tight sleep-wise. I only wish the legs would work. I don't want to work anymore.
So I'm sleeping, right? And then Martin wakes me up and he goes, "Come on, get up now, let's go. Well, my legs have got it." I don't know where he's got the energy from or who came in his dream, but after about 3-4 hours, he's got up full of energy and he's determined to get to the next milestone, which is pole number 1125, I think it is. So he's up and he's got his head to me. Look. So you got to admire the fight this guy and determination.
Where's the energy come from?
Upstairs.
Yeah?
Must be.
Good to hear.
How do it come from?
How you feeling? Feeling good?
Yeah. Well, I feel I can do a mile. I hope so.
Inshallah.
It's recharge done it. Obviously a lot of good. Of course, taking another couple of tablets, that helps. so that they'd suffer for it in the morning.
So, while in Iraq, I mean, because your health wasn't, of the greatest when you went to Iraq, what sort of challenges did you have to face in terms of, like your legs were hurting?
Yeah, well,
tired.
Yeah, one of the most important things, of course, was because of my guinea pig treatment at the cancer centre, is I had to be very careful about hygiene and cleanliness, because I only have about a 2% immunity. Yeah, my immunity system. Because my immune system is spent fighting the cancer. So that worried me. As you know, I wasn't happy in one particular situation, sleeping with lots of bodies, which wasn't being derogatory, but me worried about picking something up, and being in close proximity to a lot of people.
So Martin's kind of like just stormed out. He was quite angry. Obviously, he's really tired, and the walk has taken a great toll on his legs. He was a bit upset with some of the facilities and the actual arrangement of staying at these mokibs. I've just seen him over there. He's having a cup of tea. I'm going to try and talk to him and calm him down a little bit and really get to the issue of what's bothering him, and then hopefully we can bring him back on track and we can carry on with this walk, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, I spoke to Martin. I spoke to him about what he was going through, what he was feeling. It was quite understandable that it's been a very, very tiring day for him, and we were talking about him getting a good night's rest, inshallah, and tomorrow going forward and trying to reach Karbala, inshallah.
Rough night, I'm afraid. Not much sleep, a couple of hours. Too much noise for me. Woke me up early this morning with all the TV guys, which is fair enough. Just expected more, like when we arrived last night. Thought I was going to get a bit of comfort and all that, and it wasn't forthcoming. I'm just about at it now. I'm tired out, knackered out, had enough. So I'm ready to go and have some comfort, have a shower, have a decent sleep when I'm ready for it. Just a decent meal. That's about it really, I suppose.
After a strenuous few hours, we decided for Martin's comfort to complete the rest of the journey to Karbala by car. Even though he was not able to complete the whole walk, it was a remarkable achievement that he had managed some of it despite his medical concerns.
Okay, now this is where I'll be staying now for the next couple of nights. One of the workers, known as Malteser, from London, this is his grandfather in the garden there. He's kindly offered to put us up for a few nights, amongst others that are coming later. This is the entrance. If you'd like to follow me through, I'll take you into where we'll be staying. Now here is the lovely room. Hopefully the camera can capture the loveliness of this room. It's a very nice room, dedicated to Imam Hussein as well. What a lovely room to be able to stay in for a couple of nights, so hopefully I can recharge my batteries.
So you finally made it to the shrines here in Karbala, where everyone's been walking to.
Yes.
And this is its quietest.
Yes, we've got a result, haven't we, without a doubt. Getting the car all the way this way.
But even though everything's developed now, this was the battleground.
Yeah,
This is what people have been walking towards all the way from Najaf. Yeah. So man, how does that look like from a finish line?
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
Can you still see the phone numbers up there?
It's finishing line. Well, the first thing that hit me, I think, was the fabulousness of the shrines. I remember showing a picture to one of my younger nephews, and he was astounded, because he's young and obviously hasn't travelled apart from holiday and stuff. And he said, blimey, you wouldn't think such things were in Iraq, and this is where people go wrong, they really don't know, they only see what they see on the news. And obviously Iraq's got that reputation for a lot of problems in recent years, albeit caused mostly by the Americans and us, but Yeah, that's it really. It's fabulous, like, you know, when you get inside and you just see all that, it's just stunning.
Being there, looking at the shrines and all the memorials, how does it feel? Because you've read up on the Battle of Karbala. Can you relate to the city and the location now that you've read about it and also visited?
Yes, definitely. You have to be there and picture the army and this, that and the other to appreciate it more. But yeah, it did make you know, it was important. Karbala is a special place, you know, the whole place is a religious centre, like, isn't it? Like, so it was a special place. But one of the things that hit me was talking to you, I can't remember where we were now, but I said about how the people were all dressed in black and seemed a bit down and all that, and I'd really thought about it where they were actually grieving. It was like a funeral, and it hadn't actually sunk into me, and then I could look at them in a different way then, that they were actually grieving, like, you know, and that rammed home to me in that, I don't know what you call it, like forecourt or whatever, between the Abbas shrine and the other shrine, seeing all the poetry being read out, especially with the Iranians, and seeing grown men in tears, like, you know, you just wouldn't see that in this country, you know, over something that happened, what, 600 BC? That shows how strong the religion is. Well, I'm sure it's a big relief for those that have walked a long, long way, you know, to actually get here, but emotionally I should imagine their emotions are pretty powerful, like, you know, and they're ready to probably spend the rest of the night, those that have just arrived, paying homage, I suppose, for want of a better word. And obviously feeling a lot of sadness, I guess, you know, thinking back to I'm sure they'll picture what happened in their minds, like, won't they, and start feeling sad, and some will be weeping, I guess, won't they? Others will be just more wrapped up in the religion side of it, like, you know, and praising God and what a pleasure it is to be here, etc. So,
Mine, do you believe in miracles?
Do I believe in miracles? Well, I'm sure some miracles have occurred over time, I guess, yeah.
Because they say this is the place where miracles happen. So many people come here with wishes, with ambition, with hopes, and they come here and a lot of their dreams are fulfilled by asking from Abbas. And I was going to ask you, have you got anything to ask from Abbas? Because he is one that we say who never says no, especially to a guest.
No, I don't feel I've got the right to ask, to be honest with you. Number one, it's not my religion. Number two, I haven't been a religious person.
Do you want to just wrap in from me?
So I have not got the right to ask, you know, to ask for anything like that, I'm afraid, and I wouldn't. No.
Why do you feel that you not being a religious person kind of like, you know, makes you, what's the word?
Feel unable to ask.
Outside, excluded.
No, I don't think I've got the right to, without a doubt, or like for myself. No, I haven't. No, I don't think so.
Do you think it's you decides who has the right, or is it up to Abbas who decides the right?
Well, you know, people that believe in a God know that God knows your thoughts, etc. So I don't really need to come here myself to ask for anything. I can understand other people, you know, from this religion, Shia people coming and asking, yeah, without a doubt, you know, this is the place for them to come, like people go to Lord's, etc. But not for me, no.
If you were Shia, and you, what would you ask from Abbas?
If I was Shia?
Yeah,
you're determined to get your answer. No, I'm just asking to look after all my family, you know, especially my eldest granddaughter who's got problems, mainly them, and once I've asked him to look after my family. And
will you be able to make a prayer?
I do any praying that I do on my own.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
I always have done. It's my way. But yeah, I would ask for my family, obviously immediate family, to stay in good health, etc. And would obviously finish off to just thanking and to continue. You know, I've had 2 years with cancer now, of incurable cancer, stage 4, and I've had 2 years. You know, and long may that continue. So that would be what I would ask for myself. After my immediate family, I've done really my limit, didn't I? You know, each time I couldn't have done any further. You know, lay down afterwards and my legs are throbbing and muscles are twitching, like, you know, for a whole day afterwards and that, and I have to try and relax, you know, and get the feeling back, knowing that I've got to try and do a bit more walking the next day, you know. So yeah, it puts things into perspective.
So we're going to see you again next year?
Oh, well, it'd be nice to say, yeah, definitely, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'd come here again, of course I would, yeah, I'd love to. I'd come here every year, why not? I would do.
What would bring you back every year?
What would bring me back?
Yeah, why would you come back every year?
Something I'm paying for. Why would I come back? Well, I could easily say I could come back out of just respect for, you know, I like the Shia religion, like, you know, I think it's a good religion. I think it's the true, as I said before, the true religion myself, and seeing what people do, I like to join in such a thing, you know. It's my sort of sounds and smells and food and things, like, you know, so yeah, I'd come back, definitely.
Well, what makes you say Shia Islam is the true religion?
Only from what I've read, you know, and I've read both sides, you know, dug right into it, as I've said before. You know, for me, no one's going to make me change my mind, right? You know, I could be like the Shirazi man, you know, who wrote the Peshawar Nights, and invite all the Sunni to sit in a room with me and try and persuade me that it's any different. And I would listen to them, but I don't think they'd be able to win their argument. I really don't. I would challenge anyone to try. Well, I shouldn't have said that. I'm going to get knocked on the. They'd be knocked on my door.
No one's going to touch you. So Martin, how you been? And then glad to be back in London.
Well, not really. I'd sooner be abroad, especially in the sun. You know, there's lots of countries I visit now since my interest in the Middle East, the last 30, 40 years, that I wish I'd known and done when I was younger. Because obviously I don't have the strength for it anymore. But I mean, it's always nice to be home, you know, you miss your family. But as soon as you're back, you want to go again, because that's how it works when you have itchy feet.
And how about that? How's your health? I mean, I hope you improved.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I'm good, you know. You wouldn't think, looking at me, you know, that I had cancer of the lung, liver, back and pancreas. You know, and I had that big lump taken out of my head. I've got the hidden disabilities, like, you know, the fatigue of the legs. My appetite's quite poor, obviously. Sometimes I sleep, sometimes I don't, but that doesn't bother me. You know, I'm alive, so that's the way it is.
Would you do it all again?
Oh, for sure. I'd do it next month. No worries. I'd love to.
And do you actually plan to go back to Iraq?
I'd like to, without a doubt. I'd like to see some of the places that I didn't get to. There's so many. I really wanted to go to Kufa, you know, being the land of Ali. And that's very close as well, and I didn't make it. Babylon I'd like to see, you know, there's so many places. The Marsh Arabs, as I said earlier, I'd like to go and visit. But I think that's an impossibility. But yeah, I might get there, you never know. Never say never.